I really hope that this can be an interchangeable headline that we can run back to in about a month or two's time with BioWare and Dragon Age of the Veilguard, but Ubisoft announces Star Wars Outlaws. Yes, underperformed sales expectations despite achieving solid reviews. Yes, they got the IGN, well no, it wasn't even a 7. Didn't this one get an 8? But yeah, guys, we paid for all of our reviews, even though our game was broken, it could barely fire up, and everyone who actually played it thought that it was a steaming pile of garbage, but I don't know why. The game did not sell better. That's why we are trying to fast track it to Steam so that we can go ahead and try to recoup some losses. But yeah, man, it's still hilarious. Like, the game is still broken, by the way. Don't buy it at all whatsoever. Save your money, even if you're just trying to get some memes out of it. Wait potentially until the 21st, if not later, because that'll probably be, oh no, just wait a month, because then the Christmas sale for Steam will go on. We'll be seeing how Ubisoft wants to price their catalog moving forward, because we know how tough of a time they're having right now. But Ubisoft announced its first half 2024-2025 earnings figures report that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed sales expectations despite achieving solid reviews. The company revealed that its net bookings came in on the low end of its revised expectation for the second quarter at just 352.3 million euros, which is way too much, especially for the fare that they currently have on offer. The company originally expected to have net bookings of 500 million, but significantly downgraded those expectations to the range of 350 to 370 after Star Wars Outlaws sales were soft and X-Defiant underperformed, but they won't quantify by how much it underperformed. That's between them and, well, their current investors and potentially the people that'll help take the company private in the near future. Speaking specifically to Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft reported that the game underperformed sales expectations. Despite this, Ubisoft attempted to spin the game as a positive, writing that game achieved solid reviews. Yeah, these companies, they don't listen to actual feedback that's there. The people that are playing it go, there could be something here if it wasn't for the characters, the writing, and the absolutely broken gameplay. You could have something, theoretically speaking, a bounty hunter game in the Star Wars galaxy, an open world Star Wars game. Sounds fantastic. You just did everything wrong. Like, if we're actually looking at it, if there was an objective review, this would be like a 2 or a 3, not a 7 or an 8. Yes, the game achieved solid reviews and user scores across first-party and Epic stores, just cherry-picking. First-party and Epic stores reflecting one of the most immersive expressions of the Star Wars universe ever created. Yeah, but what's the gameplay like? It's one of the best and the most immersive experience. Okay, we got it. It then detailed that the company is attempting to improve the quality of the game. Yeah, see, it's immersive. It's immersive in so much as you get stuck between a bunch of stuff and you can't leave, so you're immersed in it. It's kind of like being immersive. Teams are fully mobilized on implementing changes to enhance game mechanics and overall polish. Yes, since the launch, the team has delivered 3 title updates. None of them have actually fixed it, but we've released 3 title updates focused on quality of life features and bug fixing. Notably, improvements in stealth mechanics. Do you still get found in the high grass? Nope, but we've released 3 title updates and NPC AI and save features. Yeah, that's fantastic. Like the save feature of if you got early access to the game when the game actually launched with one of your first title updates, you had to delete your save data, otherwise you would get gated out of the game. Fantastic stuff. And that's like you were missing so many things, like a story about quintuple betrayal, and Darth Vader shows up for a while, because nothing can happen in the Star Wars universe without the Force lightsabers. You remember this stuff? They can't tell a unique story, but hey, it's immersive, right? But what about Ubisoft's other titles? What about that one that they kicked down the road a little bit, knowing that, holy shit, this was also, in a bad way, this was also a title that they were going to release in a borked state, because at this point in time, we would be, a couple of weeks away from its launch, but now it got punted to mid-November, from mid-November to mid-February, because the game needed more time to polish, and they learnt from their mistakes of Star Wars Outlaws, so they were ready to release an unfinished pile again for the 4th time this year. Skull and Bones, X-Defiant, Outlaws, and then Shadows would have been the 4th and crowning jewel because, yeah, you could explain away the failures. Skull and Bones, brand new IP, pirates, I don't know, necessarily aren't in vogue. X-Defiant releasing a shooter in a very crowded space. Star Wars isn't as hot as it used to be, and yeah, there's a knock-on effect there, but this is Ubisoft. This is Ubisoft's biggest IP? Biggest active IP that they have right now. It's either that or Far Cry. But the ones that they made in-house, they made into cultural phenomenons at one point or another, but they would have to come down on their own franchises and have to reconcile the fact that they aren't a popular studio anymore. So they just waited to come to that conclusion in February. But Yves Guillemot, Ubisoft CEO, confirms Assassin's Creed Shadows delay is costing the company an extra 20 million euros. Money that they simply do not have, which is very interesting, right? Because we heard that there were a couple of changes that they made. The last time we talked about this, they got rid of the season pass, which is big news, by the way. Also cutting $50 off of the collector's edition. That's crazy. And then also getting rid of the early access period that you would get from pre-ordering, I think, the game, but I don't think that was specifically locked to a certain edition of the game, but maybe it was, but it's irrelevant at this point because that is also gone. And so does that factor into the $20 million loss? Let's check it out. Guillemot confirmed that the company is spending an additional 20 million euros on Assassin's Creed Shadows by delaying the game to February. Ubisoft announced back in September they would be delaying, yes, the game to February 14th. Oh, Valentine's Day. Have fun recreating your normal San Francisco day on Valentine's Day. In a press release, yes, Assassin's Creed Shadows will now be released the 14th of February 2025. As for why, the company explained the game is feature complete. Don't worry, we know exactly what we're doing with the game. It's just the learnings from Star Wars Outlaws release led us to provide additional time for further polish of the title. So it's like, yeah, we have script beats before we go to film this project. It's just we don't have all the lines worked out. Yeah, the third act is still up in the air, but we need to get this out there. So yeah, let's just go and we can fix it with reshoots. That's what Marvel movies have been doing for 5 years at this point, and that's why they have to go with a soft reboot. And because Ubisoft was so accustomed to releasing unfinished games and patching them after people paid their hard-earned money to experience this buggy nonsense, now they're having to go through a corporate rebooting. Oh well, but yes, this will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on the ambition, notably by fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure. Yeah, because that's also something that's, at least that's been rumored, where they're actually going to have co-op, which seems like something that they would probably sell off at a later date as, oh, look at new DLC. Oh, look at something that used to be standard in a lot of these projects. Hell, even Ubisoft projects. Wasn't there co-op in the old Splinter Cell games? At least from Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory. I think so. Anyways, furthermore, the company revealed we are departing from the traditional season pass model. Right, yeah. Need to indenture as much goodwill for this beleaguered project as possible. So yeah, we're just getting away from season pass. We're just going to streamline the development. We're just going to be giving you guys more up front. All players will be able to enjoy the game at the same time on February 14th. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying we're getting rid of the early access. Don't worry about it. And those who pre-order the game will be granted the first expansion for free, and very likely the only expansion for free. And the game will mark the return to our new releases on Steam day one, as you also announced that, yes, Star Wars Outlaws, because it underperformed, would be released on Steam with its first set of DLC on November 21st. An official post to the company's X account, Ubisoft's Mark Alexis Cote elaborated, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us. Yeah, you had to be dreaming to think that this would end up being successful. Finally, bringing the series to feudal Japan and the many features developed in their community in mind, such as parkour, our renewed stealth, brought by a new technology, and set in a beautiful and immersive world that we cherry-picked from a lot of different Asian countries. It will be great. But back to the earning call. Yes, Guillemot was asked by a BMO investor on Assassin's Creed Shadows. You guys said you delayed the game. You keep saying it was feature ready, so I'm curious when you went through and looked back at the game? Were you guys finding bugs and looking back? Were you glad that you moved it? And I'm talking about the extra 20 million euros in development costs for doing this. How is that tracking? I beg your pardon? How was this guy in this loop as to how much this was going to cost? On Shadows, we had said was that the back of what we saw with Outlaws, well, we really need to make sure that we come with an impeccable player experience. Shouldn't you be aiming for that? Like, this comes out of the mouth of Yves Guillemot, the same idiot who erroneously claimed that good enough isn't good for gamers. They got too accustomed to boutique experiences and are just simply tired of the slop. So yeah, we need to focus on, delivering something good. Of course, there are always some bugs, and yeah, that's fine. There are some things that happen because you can't anticipate everything that a player is going to do in a game. So yeah, if you stress test it and a couple of things end up bending, not breaking, that's fine. That's acceptable. It's just if you're like Star Wars theory, loading up Star Wars Outlaws and going into a cantina, you fall through the floor. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's stress testing, but that's just me. I've never developed a game, so how can I criticize it? Anyways, next he confirmed, and yes, you are right. We had mentioned that it would translate to about 20 million euros in the total budget, as we've kept a strong level of resources in the last phase of development and polishing. Now, okay, we don't know what the actual budget of this game is going to be, but this title ends up moving just about a little under 3 months, and it cost them 20 million euros, bro. This thing that's been in development for at least a couple of years, probably a lot longer in some form or fashion, okay? Even if you just go with your standard game development cycle of 3 to 4 years, just think, it cost $20 million to move a couple of months. Why do you think that they are so trepidatious and they're trying to cast the net as wide as possible? How they're trying to polish a turd in Star Wars Outlaws to try to potentially recoup any losses, not officially denouncing X-Defiant and say that we're going to go ahead and cancel it because nobody's playing our bullshit. How they won't even address Skull and Bones at this point in time. Why they're trying to make not Star Wars, but Assassin's Creed Shadows as marketable as possible, because they know that their time is running short, and how the rest of the industry currently perceives Ubisoft. It's not just simply, oh, take a look at the poor slow kid, he's having a tough time out there. No, if they don't straighten up and fly right, they're going to end in this spot. And quite frankly, looking at the Western output, especially in 2024, I'm kind of rooting they take all the wrong lessons from this. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.